Hi there, Lynn here, just checking in after a busy day. And there's something on my mind. I wanted to capture it and share it with you because I think it's going to help you hugely over the coming weeks and months. And it's about the amount of time we potentially waste because of a lack of clarity of language, be that in writing or be it in our spoken words at work. So let me ask you this. How many times do you get a meeting agenda and you're not quite sure what you want to prepare or how you need to prepare, and you're not quite sure what the outcomes of that meeting are supposed to be? And of course, you'll sit in endless meetings where people go round and round in circles. They say the same thing as someone else has said. And you're no clearer at the end of the meeting, really, what the next course of action is, who's responsible, what the deadlines are. And everybody nods their heads at the end of the meeting, and you go out and you say to yourself or your colleagues, what was that all about? So that's one example. Another example is the sort of phrases that we use to people or we hear from other people. So I want you to be a better team player. I want you to be more accurate in your communication. I want you to give less of the detail in the presentation. Now, we think we know what we mean, but the other person is telling themselves a story, and the lack of understanding or the assumptions that are being made, again, can cause a huge amount of time to be wasted. Now, I've got a new coaching client, and one of the things that she does is, by her own admittance, talks a lot. And she talks a lot because when she's giving instructions to her team, she thinks the more she talks and tells them what she needs, the clearer they'll be. But in fact, of course, the opposite is happening. So deadlines are not being met, things are not being done, and she's getting more and more frustrated. And you can see why. And finally, I think this came to me again, this thought, when I was running the Tricky Conversations masterclass last week. I got the group to do an exercise. If you're on it, you'll know. And I asked them to think about the conversation they wanted to have that was tricky and what the end in mind would be of that conversation. And we had some really great dialogue and ideas come out, but a lot of the language was not really clear. So it was clear to the person who was writing it, but not probably to the person who would receive it. So here's a great exercise in really noticing the amount of ambiguity and lack of clarity that you see. And in the Facebook group last week, I did post a couple of articles, short articles on how to read the room and what to notice in that room before you started to change anything. So I reckon in your next meeting, if you could really notice how much vague language, ambiguous language, and lack of clarity floats about, that will be a real opportunity for you then to start to change things one step at a time. So I'm on a bit of a mission to go on a clear language campaign, and I'd love to know how you get on and what light bulbs emerge or light up as a result. Okay, great to speak to you.